Welcome in ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5 to the Bullpen. It's me, Brian McDonald, found on Twitter at Sack by BMAX. Sean Mapes to my right, as always, on Twitter at Sean A. Mapes. No Cam today because Cam is probably, I don't know what percentage of full drunk you would say he is at this point, but he is pre-gaming hard at his Chargers sports bar. I'm sure he's got a watch party going. So no Cam Smith today, but John Belmer is with us as always. You can find him on Twitter at Third Coast Johnny. And let's start by I guess addressing the elephant in the room. Sean and I are maybe struggling a little bit today, or maybe not in the highest of spirits after how last night ended, which we'll talk about later in the show. I think we still need to kind of gather our thoughts after the way that game ended with Jack Sawyer sprinting down the sideline. But we're going to get into the Texans right off the top because Texans Chargers, it's playoff time in Houston.
And we're ready to
We're
play.
ready to play. Yeah, there you go, Johnny. All right.
I like it
Oh,
as
no,
just
keep
a drop.
it going, Johnny. Keep it
No,
going,
I like
man.
it as just
Yeah, baby. Playoff time in Houston. Texans Invitational, the 3:30 Saturday spot for Wild Card Weekend. I believe the Texans are 5-2 all time in this spot, with their only losses coming in 2018 to the Colts. That was not a fun game, and even less fun 2015 when they lost 30-0 to the Chiefs. So either the Texans win or they're going to get embarrassed, and that's kind of the way I feel like this game is going to be today. Like I've gone back and forth. I don't know where you guys are with this, and if you guys want to join the conversation, give us a call or text in the HRMP listener line at 713-780-3776. But I've kind of gone back and forth, all week on this. Like I have a healthy, and we're going to go through kind of our fear level for the different aspects of the Chargers, but I have a healthy, respect for the way Herbert's played, for the Chargers defense, certainly for the experience at the coaching position of John Harbaugh. But I still kind of think, home game, the way the Texans defense is played, as long as the offense doesn't do what they've done too often this season, they should be able to stay close and possibly win this game. So, I mean, we're going to look at some of the places where the Texans may or may not have an advantage or disadvantage, but certainly if you're thinking about advantages, it starts with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, who finished the year with 11 and 12 sacks respectively. If those guys hunt and do what they've done in their biggest games, the Texans will not only be in this game but probably win. That's kind of we can. You know what? Let's actually start there because I've had this kind of debate in my head, like what this game will come down to, and I promise I will not say turnovers. I will not say something lame like time of possession, because you can say that about every game.
Running the ball.
I hate when people say, I hate when
whoever runs for more yards.
God.
When the Texans run for more than
that's the
80 yards.
That's the stat I hate.
Win.
I hate when people post like a stat for a running back. Let's just say Saquon Barkley. Well, Saquon Barkley has 100 yards. The Eagles are of course, because it's not because he ran for yards. He's running for 100 yards because they're not behind, and he's still running the ball. Anyway, I don't want to get
Agree
into
to disagree. I think the best running
establish
back,
it, Sean.
I think when the best running back has a good game, it helps his team win.
Shawnee established it over here.
I don't know. Is that so crazy?
Shawnee established it over here. I thought you're still in my gimmick, Sean. I'm supposed to be the establishing guy. No, but I think this game comes down to how the two teams handle the star wide receivers on either side. For the Texans, to me, can the Texans, because the Chargers are going to go in this game knowing, okay, we need to stop Nico, and really there's nothing else that we fear from their passing game. So can the Texans still find ways to get the ball to Nico, or to the Chargers just double him and completely take him away? And then on the other side, does Derek Stingley travel with Ladd McConkey? Because that's kind of my fear there. Ladd McConkey is obviously a good rookie receiver, but if Stingley's lined up on him, the all-pro Derek Stingley, I think he'll have a pretty decent chance to shut him down. But with how often Ladd moves around, especially lines up in the slot, that could become a problem if Stingley doesn't travel with him.
Yeah, and this is a coaching staff that, remember, last year didn't travel Stingley with Amari Cooper in the regular season game against the Browns. Amari Cooper went for like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. And in the playoff game, then Stingley moved with Amari Cooper, and he held him, I think it was like under 50 yards.
Yeah, it was like 3 for 40 something or 30 something. Yeah, it wasn't much.
So this is I think that's a interesting like parallel because the Texans didn't play the Chargers in the regular season, so we don't know if it's a situation where D'Amico Ryan's doesn't want to do it in the regular season, where it's outside the normal game plan. A lot of times in the regular season, kind of want to run what you run and make small adjustments to that. But for a playoff game, you're going to throw a lot of things out and make a very specific game plan for the team that you're playing. So I don't know if the last year was a situation of, all right, we're doing something different because it's the playoffs, or we're doing something different because Amari Cooper almost had 300 yards receiving
Right.
against against the
He
Texans
wrecked you in the regular season
like
game.
3 weeks before this game. So I if you ask me what I believe will happen, I don't think that they'll travel Stingley with Lad McConkey because of what you're saying. He's not just an outside X receiver. He does move into the slot so
Mhm.
much. And really, Stingley doesn't move into the slot with guys. I mean, he never lines up in the slot, but even then, like I don't know how many times he's been a slot corner for the Texans.
Yeah, and that see, I think I what you're saying is almost entirely true because you don't see the D'Amico ask Stingley to travel with guys, especially into the slot very often. And I think that is kind of what you laid out, like a regular season thing. Let's do what we do and make small adjustments, not try to make things too complicated for our guys. But there was one exception I remember from this regular season where, and I think there's some parallels to line up with what they face today. The one exception was the Cowboys game. They asked Stingley, and there was even a like a press or video of the locker room afterwards where D'Amico made a big deal about it. Like Stingley asked you to step up and travel with CD, and you did it, and you shut CD down. Now CD was also a little banged up in the game, but we saw, and I think this is where D'Amico draws the line. He went into that Cowboys game knowing it's CD Lamb and basically nothing
Yeah.
else. And you can make the argument for the Chargers in the passing game specifically. I know Will Dissly's had his moments. Quentin Johnson's been a touchdown guy. Joshua Palmer's been, but really, I would still kind of look at the Chargers, kind of like I look at the Cowboys, as in it's Lad McConkey, and I'm not really worried about it. Like maybe Quentin Johnson gets one on you, but you can live with what Quentin
Yeah.
Johnson does. You have
Make
to
make
shut
him
down.
make him beat you with QJ and Palmer and
Yeah, if
Disley.
yeah, tip your cap if that happens. But
Oh,
I think, well,
I
I'm
don't like I
sorry,
don't
I'm
like
sorry.
tipping
I
my
know,
cap in
I
a
know,
playoff
I
scenario.
know. That was my look. Hey, that was on me. My
Okay.
bad. I shouldn't have invoked Bagwell and Biggio language. That's a sensitive thing for Houston right now. That's on me.
Jeez.
I know. I'm gonna raise my hand. I'll take the air there. I know that's like a foul, and I'm raising my hand
Just
like hey,
chest tap,
that's yeah,
chest out. That's on
that
me.
one's on me. But like really, I mean, obviously, Lad McConkey, despite I mean a great regular season, he was almost 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 82 catches. He's not C.D. Lamb, but I think there are, as we talked about, parallels there where the Texans are going to look at this team with the Chargers and say, if we stop Lad McConkey, I'm not worried about the rest of the passing game. Same as the way they looked at the Cowboys. And if we stop CD Lamb, I'm not worried about the rest of the passing game. Now, the difference would be obviously Cowboys are playing Cooper Rush, Chargers have Justin Herbert. So maybe Herbert is more capable of taking advantage of his secondary pieces if you take away Lad. But I think that's kind of where the game comes down with me. Can you take out Lad by traveling Stingley, and can you get Nico touches even though the Chargers know he's pretty much all you have?
Yeah, because we're talking so much about Lad McConkey, who did have a very good regular season, is a good receiver. The Texans are on the same exact position as the
Yep,
Chargers are on
100%.
offense, as far as having one receiver
That's it.
that the
You're not
defense has
worried
to
about
worry about.
Hutch. You're not worried about Metz. You're not worried about slow ass Dalton Schultz. You're not worried about anybody else but Nico Collins.
Yeah, so to me, it becomes a situation of just how did the two defenses, the Chargers and Texans, plan on taking out that number one wide receiver, and two, how the Texans and how the Chargers offenses find a way to get those guys involved. Because if I maybe to tip what I think of this game a little bit, I think that the Chargers can win with Lad McConkey not having an awesome game or even a very good game. I think they have other avenues on offense to win. The Texans, I'm not sure what the other
I get it.
avenues are if it's not at least, I don't know, 2, 3 big chain moving plays or scoring plays by Nico Collins. I don't know if they can convert a 3rd and 11, and if you're saying we are taking Nico Collins off the table as a defense, I'm not sure how often they're gonna be able to pick up the 3rd and longs without having Nico Collins bail him out like he's done so many times this year.
Yeah, it's a good point because I as you were making it, I pretty much agree that, and maybe this is in part due to the confidence you have in the current form of both quarterbacks as well, because certainly um, Herbert's been playing better than Stroud recently. But I would have more confidence if I'm a Chargers fan of what's option B, C, D, E, F
Yeah.
than I would if I'm the Texans. Because I mean, if you're telling me they're going to win and lose this game based upon passes to Woods and Hutch and Mechie and Dalton Schultz, I hope Joe Mixon has a big game rushing because
Yeah.
I'm not very confident in look Stroud. I still trust Stroud. I know this season's been a step back, obviously, but sometimes if you don't have the pieces, you don't have the pieces. John, do you have a thought on this? Looks like you're about to jump in.
Well, how much is a factor is Deontay Johnson in this?
That's a good point. Yeah, I should have brought his name up by now. Like, do you remember how much he played last week against the Titans? I don't remember his snap
Um,
count
I don't remember the exact snap count, but he did play a good
because
bit.
I
I
only
think he
really
had
watched like the first couple drives.
yeah, I think he had about 2 catches, 2 or 3
I
catches.
don't even think he had a catch, but he was involved, and they said they liked what he brought to the table. I'm just wondering if this is going to be one of those surprises, sneak attack sort of thing that
Sneak
there's
attack.
there's not much else besides you got
No,
Yeah,
I
Nico
mean,
and maybe you get some tight ends involved, but what else do you do?
yeah, no, it is like we said when I think it was
two
last
catches
week.
for 12 yards, by
2
the way.
catches, 12 yards. I think it's about what we said last week, where it's like, hey, Deontay Johnson, there's a ton of opportunity here. There's not a lot blocking you from playing time, from being out there. It's just how quickly can a guy get acclimated and on the same page with an offense, not just knowing the playbook, but on the same page with the quarterback when you sign on, what was it, December 23rd, December 22nd,
Yeah,
and you're playing
sounds
a
right.
playoff game on the 11th.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. It's a quick turnaround. I mean, D'Amico and Casario have both talked about it. Like, hey, we're gonna throw things and throw him into the water and see what he can do. But it's yeah, I wouldn't want to set my expectation too high that he could be the second piece. That oh my god, they took away Nico, but it's okay because Deontay has a
Yeah.
big game.
I
I don't think he's capable this week of seven catches for 80 yards and a score. Like I don't see that as a possible outcome.
I think there's some upside to him. Like there's the world as far there's upside relative to the other receivers.
Yes,
I
more so than
I think
Hutch or
that there's
Mechie.
a better chance that we have the oh my god Deontay Johnson game, or not even the oh my god Deontay Johnson game, but him having 4 catches for 44 yards and it's third downs,
Right.
it's
Impactful
fo-
plays.
yeah, impactful plays, red zone opportunity. It's things like that. I think there's a higher chance that we have that sort of impact, that Deontay Johnson has that sort of impact than a 100-yard game or anything. And I also think there's a higher chance that he has that kind of impact than Xavier Hutchinson has that kind of impact, or Dalton Schultz has that kind of impact. I
Certainly
think
Dalton
I
Schultz,
think
yeah.
he has the like high upside potential. It's just I don't know how likely that is to come to fruition. I mean, there's a good chance that it's another 2 catches, 14 yards. Like that is probably the more likely outcome, but
Sure.
there is a higher upside than Mechie, Hutchinson, whoever else the Texans are running out there.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree with that. Like whatever you want to put the individual odds at, they all might be really low. But I would agree that Deontay would have the highest of that group because look, I mean, he was obviously a guy that fell out of favor in Pittsburgh. He was in Mike Tomlin's doghouse multiple times, partially for drops, partially for his attitude. Obviously, he wanted out of Carolina. And then
He got it.
things went poorly in Baltimore, and he got his way out of there as well. But he's been a guy. Rather earlier this season, we got to play with Andy Dalton in Carolina, or in the past while he was with Pittsburgh. He's not a big down the field, guy that stretches the field with speed, but he's a guy that could separate in quick space and be kind of like the slot PPR possession type guy. So, look, we're kind of Stroud and Texans as us as Texans fans are a little bit in a desperate mode here because we're kind of looking for a guy that's not coming in an advantageous position because of how limited amount of time he's had to get ready for this. And the Texans are desperate because of the losses of Tank and Diggs. We need that sort of game from Deontay, and he's capable of it. We've seen it in multiple stops. Is he just acclimated enough in this offense to be able to do that today against a Chargers defense that ranks number 1 in points allowed?
Yeah,
That's the question.
And I think the reason we don't really bring him up is that it's partially it's like, how do you put that on a guy like that? Like, how
Yeah,
do you
it's
put it
unfair.
on, like, you're the X factor of this playoff game
I just got here.
for a team that you're playing your second game with?
Yeah. In the first one, CJ Stroud played 1 series.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
you really haven't even had time with CJ.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think you can sort of put the pressure on because I think that's kind of what you brought him in for. I mean, he's had some really good success in the past,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I think you see that high upside. And I think that's kind of the reason you bring him in.
But
right?
it's not. I'm saying it's not like the expectation. Like, you can't expect him to make that kind of impact because of all.
No,
the
but
things.
maybe you don't. But I think it's fair to put that, like, put the pressure on him. Say, hey, you're going to be like. I think but the conversation behind the scene is, hey, we're going to look for you. We're going to try to make you that. I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
I would like to imagine D'Amico going up to Deontay. He's like, hey, you see the rest of the depth chart, right?
Yeah.
You ready, pal? Ice up. We're gonna be coming to you.
It's fair.
It's all right. We're a little bit over here. On the other side of the break, we're gonna get into more Texans Chargers, including who amongst the Chargers do we fear the most, and who might have jobs on the line this week for the Texans, depending on the outcome of today's game. That when the Bullpen returns on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
It's football time in Houston. Damn right, Johnny. Thank you. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Johnny could play that every single bump in. I don't know where you're at, Sean.
Don't test me.
Sean, doesn't matter where it
Okay.
doesn't matter what you.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
that was a little aggressive.
That was.
But Johnny, please play that every break. I don't think I could get tired of that today, baby. It's playoff time, Houston. It is the bullpen. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. Brian McDonald, Sean Mapes, John Barrymore with you. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, send us a text or give us a call here at 713-780-3776. That is the HRMP listener line. So talking Texans Chargers. And I wanted to gauge your guys' level of fear in certain aspects of what the Chargers will bring to this game. Let's start with a guy that we talked about in the last segment quite a bit, but Ladd McConkey. I don't know what we want to do here. Is it like 1 to 10, 1 to 5? I'll let you make that'll be a dealer's choice. You pick as we go along here. But what is your fear level of Ladd McConkey?
I would say probably like 7. I'd say.
Yeah,
Out of 5?
No,
I thought he said out of 5.
No,
I
he said 10
dealer's
or
choice. I
5.
said
and
dealer's
I
Oh,
wanted,
okay.
I want to be more precise. So
we'll just
7.
make it. Oh, you know what? I'll simplify it. 1 to 10. So, all right. Sean says it's 7.
7. Yeah, because he, again, no disrespect, and he is like the best receiver on their team, but he's not exactly like
No, you're not
Jamar
facing
Chase.
Yeah, you're
Like-
not facing
like
Jefferson or
there.
Chase.
I just don't know. Has there been a like? Well, I wonder what Ladd McConkey's season high for receiving is.
That's a good question. I
John-
mean, the overall numbers are pretty good. I'll
Yeah.
buy you time while you look it
Yeah,
up. but-
John, do your how scared? Are
yeah,
you,
how
John?
scared are you of Ladd McConkey?
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same range. Like you have to have a really healthy respect for the man, right? He's good, but 1,150 yards in a breakout season
Yeah.
here, so you have to. But I'm not going to say that he's, I'm shaking in my boots, but he is probably the best receiver on their team, so you have to respect him.
123 is his high against the Bengals. 117 and 111 are the 300 plus games that he's
I think that's in what you got to there with those numbers. I think is a good way to gauge our level of fear. Like we view, and I think the answer for me is yes. But do we view as Ladd McConkey as someone who could break the game for you? Like someone who we look back tomorrow or next week when we do the show and go, you lost this game because Ladd McConkey went off. Like he was picking up the big third downs. He was unstoppable in the red zone. He was the difference maker on the Chargers offense.
I think like they picking up the third downs. It could be the thing where he doesn't have. It is like more in line with his normal games are, where it's like in the 70s, low 80s kind of range, but it is on a drive where you need to stop when you're down 7, and he picks up a 3rd and 4, puts him in field goal range to get it to 10 with like
Right.
3 minutes. Like it's a situational kind of thing where because we couldn't stop Ladd McConkey in that situation, we're now at home. I don't think that there's a chance though that it's like the Amari Cooper Christmas Eve game or anything like that.
Yeah, I think you're right in that it could be it could be that we're looking at this game and like in every big moment we're like McConkey, like
Yeah.
McConkey. It just we're shaking our fist at the
Yeah.
TV because that's what you do. That's the way
That's
you.
how I watch.
Well, yeah, I mean every time
My shoulder hurts because of how much I was shaking my fist last night
Jack Sawyer.
at the TV during the Texas game.
Yeah.
That's why my shoulder
I would
hurts
be curious to
from
know were
shaking my
you
fist.
shaking your fist more at Sark or Ohio State? But we'll get into that later.
I was shaking it all over.
I'm still okay. That's one way to phrase it. I'm still processing my emotions, but yeah, I'm about at a 7 for Ladd as well. How about the Chargers pass rush, which is interesting to me because you look at the names on paper with Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Bud Dupree was a former first round pick who's had pretty good success in previous stops with the Titans and the Steelers. You're like, oh my god! I mean, look at this trio. And the high amongst that trio in sacks this year is 6.
Wow.
in Bosa and Mack combined have 11, which is the same amount as Will Anderson Jr. and one less than Daniil Hunter. So like on paper, you're like, my God, Mack, Bosa, Bud Dupree's your third guy. But then like you look at it like maybe they're just certainly Mack's in his 30s, but Joey Bosa is I believe 29. So maybe they're just getting Yeah, maybe they're just ancient and old and busted. But what is your fear level of this Chargers pass rush?
So with the Chargers pass
It's a
rush,
tough word. It's tough. It's a tough phrase to say. I struggle with it too.
is it the
No judgment.
pass rush or is it the Texans offensive line that I'm
It's
fearing?
all baked into it.
Okay, then it's like an 8.
Okay.
Because I'm lumping in the fear that I have of the Texans offensive line as a Texans fan.
Yeah. No, it's totally fair. I think
I
that's the
think
only way to view it because you can't separate the two.
I think you brought up, a good point where, yeah, when you're walking into this game, you go, "Oh my God, Mac and Bosa. No wonder they had the number one scoring defense of the league.
Right.
Like there's 20 sacks right there between them, and no, it's half that. And you think that, okay, that I like that, but this is still a Texans offensive line that hasn't put it together over the course of 17 games of a regular
Certainly.
season. So I don't know how much I can believe that they pull it all together in a playoff game here today.
Johnny?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I'm a little bit worried about it as well. Like they haven't been as good as maybe in the past, but they may not be as good as they once were, but they can be as good once as they ever were.
Thank you, Toby.
Yeah.
Ain't as good as I once was.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
And the offensive line
I
sucks.
got a
So
few years on.
I'm
me
worried.
So
now.
we've referenced Toby Keith,
Toby Keith.
and we've come back with Clay Walker already.
Well, you know what? They just announced the rodeo lineup, Sean. So
They did.
maybe
They did.
we're going country as one is prone to do.
Yeah. It's worked in the past.
I think my level of fear here is an 8 because of not only because of what you guys mentioned, but throwing in an extra factor that I haven't mentioned yet. You know who's actually has more sacks than Joey Bosa? Derwin James, their safety. They bring him quite a bit
as a blitzer.
as a
Nickel.
blitzer,
Yeah.
and that because we know from watching 17 Texans games this year, if there's stunts, if there's twists, if there's the simulated pressure where they walk 7 up to the line and 2 guys drop out, they have communication issues where they don't pick up the down lineman across from them if it's mixed up at all. So if Derwin James is coming off the edge, which he seems to be doing quite a bit according to the stats, 5.5 sacks on the season. That's quite high for a defensive back. Then that worries me a little bit with the Texans' communications issues up front and their ability to pick up that extra guy.
Yeah, not to jump ahead too far because I know it's coming up, but the Jesse Minter Chargers defense coordinator Jesse Minter matchup versus offensive coordinator for the
Ugh.
Texans Bobby Slowick,
Mm.
that's also kind of baked into this. So
Yeah.
that's part of it is if how exotic they want to get. I mean, I think the a best shining example of how a exotic, aggressive blitzing defense has thrown a wrench into the Texans offense is the Minnesota game from
Exactly. Brian Flores
September.
just
Yeah.
mind bleeped Bobby
Yeah.
Slowick all
So-
day long.
So, and I think Minter is of that. He's still a young defensive coordinator in the NFL, at least, but I think he is of that same ilk where he can come up with a game plan that just has him in a headlock.
Yeah, all right, let's carry
The walls of Jericho. Sorry.
Boston Crab.
Yeah.
Not maybe the half Boston Crab. I'll settle if Bobby Slowick only gets locked up in the half Boston Crab.
You know what? I think
versus the full Boston
I think
Crab.
there's a lot of moves that you could list. Like there's thousands. You could fill an entire scroll with the list of moves.
Yeah, because I am
that Jesse Minter knows.
Jesse Minter is the man of 1,001 holds.
Yeah.
Armbar, for example,
Yeah.
is one of his moves. Shout out to the GOAT, Chris Jericho. All right, on the other side of the break, when we get back, we'll talk more about this Texans Chargers matchup, including a few more areas and what our fear level is of the Chargers in those situations. That when the bullpen returns at ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Okay. I know I told Johnny that he could play at every break, but okay. I think Johnny, it's run its course. Like, you don't need to play it again. Like, look, we get it. It's football time. It's football, but it's
Well,
enough.
look, today you're not the producer, so.
Oh,
That is
look
true.
at Johnny Big Pants over
Yeah.
there trying to put me in my
Trying to
place.
Was that a fat
weird?
joke?
Was that weird? I don't know. That was bad. That was bad. That was bad. You know what? Okay, I'll do another one. All right, that's all right.
You're suspended again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, no, that's not suspension worthy. That's not suspension worthy.
Mhm.
You're getting soft over here, Johnny. But yeah, I don't think we need more football time in Houston. We get it, right? It's football time. You know, we came to play.
Yeah, we
ready
get
to
it.
play.
Yeah.
All right, we get it. All right. So before we get back into Texans Chargers, one text going back to the Deontay Johnson conversation. And again, if you want to get into the conversation, you can call us or text us on the HRP listener line 713-780-3776. There was an earlier text that said just swarm. So, you know,
Yeah, swarm.
Texas
Swarm.
so we got that going for us. Another one when we were talking about what wins the game, someone said turnover battle. So that's what we were trying to avoid. And, you know, I appreciate because I hope he was getting in on the joke because that's what we want to avoid because that's the worst conversation in sports radio. Whoever wins a turnover battle. Well,
it also is true.
It is true.
The Chargers don't turn that thing over.
Unless you're playing the Lions, then it's not true because the Texans won that turnover battle and look what happened. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is what number is this from? I'm not going to obviously give out the full number, but this is from 3367.
That's Johnson.
Talking about
That's
Deontay Johnson. Is that Belmer?
One of them.
This was
one of his old ones.
Yeah, Belmer does have multiple phones. You know what? Was this whole story about Johnny getting hacked just to set up so he could have a burner phone?
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
an elaborate.
I could troll the Saturday show. Yeah,
it's
sure.
elaborate. I see what's going on here. But from 3367, going back to Deontay Johnson, expectations on him conversation. I agree it's fair to put those expectations to Deontay. He needs to prove himself to everyone and mostly to the Texans and D'Amico for giving him a shot. And look, I get the sentiment. It's true. This is a guy playing for his NFL future. Well, I teased and we haven't got to it yet, but who has jobs on the line today? Deontay Johnson has possibly a job on the line, not only for his potential to stay with the Texans, but for potential teams that might sign him later on. He's got to show that he's still capable of being a contributor, not someone that's causing problems. But just because he needs to prove himself, I mean, he's had one series. I don't even know if he was on the field much when Stroud was in that one series against the Titans. So at most, he's been in there for 6 CJ Stroud pass attempts because that's what CJ Stroud threw in the Titans game, 6 passes. That's the most experience outside of practice as Deontay. Even if Deontay needs to prove himself, he still has to get adjusted and worked into the offense. It's not so easy to say, well, he needs to prove himself. Okay, there are more factors than that, though.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I have no real expectations of what he's going to do.
Yeah. All right. So back to our healthy fear levels of the Chargers. How much we're just panicking, gloom and doom.
Yeah, I was going to ask what unhealthy fear is, but I guess
unhealthy fear.
Hysteria.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I believe I found out I would have an unhealthy fear of rat torture, which came up in the show last week.
Fear.
Is that a healthy fear?
I think that's a healthy
fear.
Yeah.
Okay, I just fear it. Maybe it's just regular fear. Like Johnny, I didn't even know what rat torture was, and then Johnny Kim opened my eyes to that world.
Again, I've seen Too Fast, Too Furious. I know what it is, but
that was a dark moment in bullpen history. Rat torture conversation. I don't know if I want to put it on the 20. Well, that was actually 2020. No, it was 2025. Yeah, that was 2025. I don't know if I want to put all that on the sizzle reel if we're coming up with. I don't know. Maybe
we'll see what the rest of the year has. It's on there right now.
Yeah, go ahead and put that on the shirt list for the best of show, Johnny. We'll make sure we get the rat torture conversation in. But let's go to the Chargers running game. J.K. Dobbins having a bounce back season, 905 yards in just 11 games. So certainly would have been 1,000-yard rusher, probably someone that was 1,200 or more if he played, close to a full season, and averaged 4.6 per carry. So obviously pretty efficient there as well. Now he did have most of his huge games early in the season, and then it kind of faded out. And maybe that's something you can point to as a guy coming off the Achilles and I believe he also had an ACL tear. He had multiple injuries when he shredded his knee against the
Yeah.
Texans in Week 1 of the 2023
Yeah.
season. But what is your fear level? Because the Chargers are gonna, hard dog and Giro
Thank you.
are going to want to establish. Man, I can't believe I waited 36 minutes
I
to say
know.
hard dog and Giro. But they're going to want to
Great
establish the
36
run, and
minutes.
J.K. Dobbins is their guy. What is your fear level of J.K. Dobbins and the Chargers rush offense?
I'd say probably about a 5. I'm not too worried about it because I don't.
Are you factoring in Herbert's ability to run? Because that could be a game breaker. You have everything covered, and then Herbert takes off.
I am factoring that in, but again, he's not going to Lamar Jackson you. So it is going to be again moving the chains, kind of rushing. I don't know if they do a lot of design stuff with Herbert. At least not in the regular season. Yeah,
not that I
Herbert's
remember.
another guy who feels like he's always battling something. Like he's always got a rib. He's always got a wrist or something bothering him. So I don't know if they do that in the regular season. Maybe it's something they do.
Like you said earlier, you throw everything you can in the postseason.
So that is something I have taken into factor. I'm just not super. I guess what I'm saying is that there's not a chance that there is a chance, but I'm not expecting them to have an explosive running game.
Sure.
I think what you're getting with the running game, where you look at J.K. Dobbins on the year, 4.6 yards per carry on the year. So he's a good
but
running
not
back,
explosive.
not explosive. And that's a game against the Raiders. That's including games, the first game of the season against the Raiders, where he averaged 13 and a half. And so,
yeah. It was 10 carries for 130 yards.
13 and a half, 7.7, and then 2.9, 2.3, 3.8, 2.9, 3.4, 6.1 against the Browns, 3.3, 5.1 against the Bengals, and then 6 carries, 40 yards. That's not.
Yeah, you can't really factor.
So it's a lot of 3. So there's been 3 or 4 games against the Raiders, against the Week 2 Panthers, very different than the current Panthers.
Sure.
And the
Browns and
post
the Bengals.
Deshaun Watson Browns and the Bengals. So
a lot of
the
bad
worst
defenses.
Worst teams,
worst teams, bad defenses. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, you look at I think it's a tale of two, or two different stories. If you just look at the raw end of season numbers, 4.6, 905 yards in 11 games, that's pretty good. But when you dig into the details, he's kind of a lamb killer. He's not really doing this against the better rush defenses, which the Texans aren't elite at stopping the run. I think they're 11th in rushing yards allowed, but it's still top half. So what is your fear level at, Johnny?
Yeah, you're right. They're not elite at stopping the run, but I'm going to go a lower fear number here. I'm going to say probably 3.5.
Okay.
Maybe 4.
No fear from Johnny.
Look, if you're going to lean your hat on anything with this Texans team right now, I think it's the defense, and I think you're pretty healthy. At linebacker, you're getting Will Anderson Jr. back, who's I think pretty decent at helping with that, stopping the run.
Aziz is in there.
Yeah, Aziz back from the suspension here. He's going to be fiery.
This will be the
first game back or second
how
game
scared
back.
of me? How scared am I of a 15-yard Aziz Al-Jashire penalty? 9.
Yeah. Look, man, it's kind of like when you pinch a water hose and then you let it go and it all comes out at once. He's got some hits to get in, guys.
And
he's got to get this. He was gone for 3 games. He's got to get his stuff in.
And then you add in it's a playoff game. We saw how amped up he was. The man threw a punch on a Sunday night football game against the Browns or against the Bears in Week 2
against Roshan Johnson.
He threw a punch.
No punches today, though, please. We don't need to lose him in the game.
Man, I don't know.
I don't want him to, but I don't know.
Dome,
I can't
Herbert.
stop him. I'm not going to stop him.
Herbert, if you slide, I'm just saying, protect your dome.
Yeah.
I'm not asking Aziz to do it, but he might.
But I'm prepared for him.
He's about that life.
I agree that I think what bumps me up higher is that I just know that the Chargers are committed to running the football, so they are going to try to, at the very least, wear you down. So it might be a lot of 3.5.
Like a second half, first half it might look fine, and then second half.
I just know that they're not scared to run it for 3 yards.
Yeah, you're not going to discourage them from establishing it. That's for sure. All right, let's do one more of these fear levels, and then we'll move on to something else here. What about the coaching experience disadvantage? Because you look at Jim Harbaugh, and obviously he's won everywhere he's been. San Diego State, he turned that program around. He went to Stanford, a program that didn't win before and didn't win. Well, they won a little bit after that with
David Shaw.
David Shaw, yeah, because they went to what was it, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl? I can't remember exactly. But
They
it's
went to a
it's
Rose.
it's a program overall that hasn't done a whole lot of high level winning outside of when Jim Harbaugh was there. Obviously, he did at San Francisco, got to a Super Bowl. We lost to his brother John, and then obviously went to Michigan and won a national title. D'Amico, who we all love, he turned a team that had won I think 7 games in 2 years into a team that's back to back 10 wins in playoff trips. But what is your fear level as far as like the I guess this is more of a game management
Okay.
thought or like a play.
I was wondering
I,
if I'm taking into account the assistants and
I
things
think
like
yeah, like overall coaching, so play calling, and then just the experience and maybe with like game management, clock management. When you factor in how much experience the Chargers staff has, especially with Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, sorry, Hard Dog and Giro, versus D'Amico, and all have our thoughts on Bobby Slowick.
Yeah. I don't know how much to because so the Minter Slowick one, 10.
Yeah,
10, like
yeah,
10.
yeah.
Easy 10. The flip side where it's Burke and Ryan's and versus
Giro,
Greg Roman.
who?
Uh that one's lower. That one's probably like a 3 or 4. Like I don't think they're gonna get caught with their pants down against the Chargers. I don't think they're going to come out with some great offense. Then there's just no answers for it. I think that I have a lot of faith in the defense to again keep the offense in it as much as they can. And then as far as the game management part, I'll give a solid edge to Jim Harbaugh, but not like a crazy one. Like that's not a
That's not something you think
that's not a
is
mismatch like Minter Slowick is.
right.
It's more slight miss, probably like a 6, kind of like we're slight edge to Jim Harbaugh in a single game kind of situation. So I don't know. That probably averages out to about like a 7. So
Yeah, because I'm mostly with you, especially with the Chargers DC versus Texans OC with Mentor and Slowick. Like that's a 10. I mean, like if we're talking about of all these different coaching matchups, can one of them decide the game? It's that one.
yeah,
That one could decide the game. That one
20 divided. I added up all the numbers and then divided by 3. That's actually 6.667. So
oh, it's close to the mark of the beast.
well, it
Interesting.
is. It is like 6. Like that's a lot of 6s.
That's a lot
I
of
just, I
sixes.
just,
That's a lot of
shortened it a little bit, but
yeah.
now we're talking about it way longer than if I would have
That's
just
a
said
lot
it.
of sixes,
There's a
Sean.
lot
That
of
that has
6s.
me worried.
I mean, it's 2/3. That's
It's
that's what it
I know.
is.
I'm kidding. I don't care about that. But yeah, I overall like. Do I think Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than Miko? Would I take him or Jim Harbaugh? Sorry, that is. I mean, yeah, Jim Harbaugh's obviously had a
The
much longer
resume,
track
yeah.
record. The resume is impeccable. Other than not winning a Super Bowl, but he got to one, damn near won one with Colin Kaepernick as his quarterback. But like, I really don't think it manifests itself other than maybe there could be 2 or 3 spots where there's a critical, do we go for it? Do we kick it? Those sort of like game management issues. Like this really boils down to 2 or 3 situations. Now, even though it's only 2 or 3 situations, if D'Amico's making the right decisions and Harbaugh's making, or D'Amico's making the wrong ones, D'Amico's or in Harbaugh's making the right ones, that could be something that flips the game. But where are you at, John? Sorry, I cut you off guard there.
I'm not going to dig too deep into this. I'm not. I mean, his track record's obviously better, but D'Amico has the better smile. So, ha.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really afraid of Harbaugh necessarily. He does have the
Is that because
the
he
Michigan.
tries to tell people he remembers the moment he was
Yes.
born?
Oh, I hate that's so
It's so
stupid.
crazy.
I heard that. I was like, okay, this guy's officially like, I don't like him anymore.
Oh, you guys don't remember
Wow.
the moment you were born? Doesn't everybody?
No, I'm trying to think. No, I don't.
You
I
don't
don't.
you don't remember top Mount Rushmore plus one of the top 5 moments from under 5. You don't have a list that you could go to of that. I've got nothing. I could barely remember anything before I was a teenager, so maybe that's an age thing.
I
All
can
right, moving
barely
on.
remember
Moving on. Let's get out of here. We'll do something on the other side of the break. Maybe it's more talk about the moment we were born. Maybe it's Texans. I don't know. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is The Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Welcome back in ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. It's The Bullpen with Sean Mapes, Brian McDonald, and John Belmer. We're going to get into some NFL here. I think we've talked Texans as much as we possibly can. And thank you, Johnny, for respecting our wishes and not playing any more football time in Houston. I appreciate it. See, this is...
He gets to it so fast.
He does. Like, it's almost like he was setting me up the whole way and I just walked right into the trap. Like he loosely covered a hole in the ground with some leaves, like a cartoon, like a piece of bamboo and some leaves. And I just like,
he drew a tunnel on a brick wall.
And I just went total Wile E. Coyote around right into it. Yeah. Anyway. So let's get into some NFL conversation because there's obviously more playoff games than just Texans versus Chargers.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
We're talking about the first one because it's obviously the most important.
I mean, it's the Texans Invitational. It's the only one that's got a name, right?
Really quick.
Okay.
About the Texans exclusively playing at 3:30 on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm officially like, this is actually a good thing.
I'm fine with it.
I'm actually like pro. Just playing the first playoff game. You're playing like you're always gonna lead off the playoffs.
I'm pretty sure you have a good record there too.
5-2.
And 3:30 on a Saturday is like it is 3:30 on a Saturday is actually a better time slot than noon on Sunday.
I would agree with that.
Like the noon Sunday playoff game or wild card game, like that one to me is the most undercard.
Are you saying that because of when you like to wake up, or are you saying that just because that you actually enjoy that window?
I mean, that helps.
Okay,
I'm not going to say that doesn't help, but yeah, we wouldn't be doing a show right now if
That's true.
That's true. A 12 o'clock playoff game.
That's true. Yeah. So, well, I mean, if it was a 12 o'clock Sunday, I mean, that was the other option. They're not going to do 12 o'clock on Saturday, but yeah, no, I think I've come to like it too because I think the worst one for me would be if the Texans had the Monday game, like because of the wait, bad. Like especially.
Yeah, I just want to get it out of the way.
Especially like if it'd be different.
Get my win and get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be different if I was, a fan of the Bills or the Ravens, where you're like some massive 9-10 point favorite. Like I can wait because I feel very, very confident in that they're going to win. But the situation the Texans are usually in is it's a coin toss. It's a spread that's 3 points either way.
I mean, they're normally the 4 seed playing the top
right.
wild card.
So it's usually like a 3 point spread either way. And so I don't want to wait till Monday. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get this over with. And that way, if they lose, which they've done twice in this spot, I can move on with the rest of my weekend instead of like waiting all the way to Monday to have that moment.
And they're a franchise with like very little identity, I'd say.
Yeah,
this is an identity
outside of football time in Houston. That is their identity right
now. Throwing
the
H's,
rock and roll. Yeah, exactly.
H-Town Blue.
H-Town Blue. Yeah. So a text on the HRMP listener line from 3367. I think this is another text from him. It says his fear level, going back to the last conversation, is at a -3.
Woo.
You guys need to believe. What do we think? What do we think of the? What do we think of the phrasing? Believe.
I love it. We've been using it on Gallant.
Okay, all right. So that gets the Texan swarm stamp of approval.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well done, 3367. We appreciate that. So NFL, the other playoff games. Looking at this overall field of 14 teams, I did this exercise myself, so I've got my list and I can give mine and see if you guys agree, or we can just go straight down the list either way. But how many teams do you guys think can actually win the Super Bowl of the 14 teams? Okay. I'll just go ahead and give you my list, and then you can add on or subtract if you'd like.
Yeah.
But my list was 5 teams out of the 14, and spoiler alert, does not involve the Houston Texans. But it was. I guess I don't believe enough. I think that was the problem. Yeah. Maybe the problem was Johnny stopped listening to me and stopped playing football time in Houston. Maybe I would believe more.
You need your battle red. Blood
I need my battle red pill here. My deep steel blue pill here. Barring a gimmick from your show. But my list of 5 teams that can actually win the Super Bowl was the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens out of the AFC. And then the NFC, 2 teams, the Lions and the Eagles. Any arguments for adding or subtracting from that list?
Lions.
I mean, I could pull up the full playoff field and
I have it. I'm just.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lions, Eagles. Do you throw the Packers in there? I know they're the 7th seed. Do
No.
you throw the Packers?
No, I don't think they. Jordan Love's been a turnover machine. I don't like where they're at right now.
And so you're leaving out in the AFC. You're leaving out Broncos, of course. Chargers, Texans, Steelers.
Yeah, because I mean, I think look, the Chargers or Texans, whoever wins this game, likely going to Arrowhead, where it's obviously gonna be very tough to play. You're facing the back-to-back champs, and they're both teams, as we talked about in the first segment, are limited with really like one dynamic wide receiver. I don't think they can beat the Chiefs defense on the road with one dynamic wide receiver. And then, of course, with the Bills and the Steelers, you're going to Baltimore, you're going to Buffalo, respectively. I don't see them having much of a prayer.
Yeah. I think the Packers and maybe the Rams. I don't really love the Rams.
I think the Rams might be the worst team in the playoff field.
Worse than Broncos?
Yeah, I think so. I would definitely take Broncos defense over the Rams defense.
But I'd take the Rams offense.
I honestly, this is okay.
Checkmate.
Hot take. I take right now. This is not a resume thing.
Oh, no.
Right now, I would take Bo Nix over Matt Stafford. Right now.
Oh, wow.
I would take.
Wow.
I would take
rookie quarterback going on the road.
Stafford hasn't been playing great. Look. I mean, I know he's had like a random 4-touchdown game a few weeks ago.
When Matt Stafford does it's random. When Bo Nix does it, he's Jesus Christ.
That's what I was saying for sure.
He does it against the Chiefs.
He's touchdown Jesus.
He does it against a Chiefs team that's not even trying the last week of the season, and now we have
like how many? Okay, I'm gonna pull it up. Like how many games has Stafford had this year with one or fewer touchdown passes? I think it's been quite high. Like he's been very up or down, and I'll take the upside of Bo Nix over Matthew Stafford. I'm trying to pull up the stats here. I'm kind of stalling here.
I got it.
So Matt Stafford, okay, I've got his game log up right now. So that 4-touchdown game was, okay, that was all the way back in week 11 against New England. Last 3 games he's played, 0 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 0 touchdowns. Last 3. Like, I mean, I get that Matt Stafford, the resume, the brand, the name, whatever, certainly way better than a rookie quarterback. And I don't think either one's winning, so this might be kind of a silly conversation. But I think Bo Nix has higher upside. And look, there was a good stretch for Stafford.
Say, the game before, it was 320 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bills.
No, good.
That's a game before what you're cut off.
I think we're pointing out the streakiness, though, because his last 3 games, 1 total touchdown. He had a middle part of the season where he's very good, as you pointed out. But you look at the beginning of the season, his first 6 games, 1 touchdown, 0, 1 touchdown, 0, 1 touchdown, 0.
No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua for a lot of that.
Okay, fair. But I'm just saying there's been a very streaky nature to the way Stafford has played this year. So, I mean, and now they're going to a neutral side. They don't even have the home game anymore.
Yeah, but I'm in general, I am not anti, but like I don't have a lot of expectations for rookie quarterbacks.
So you feel like
on the road in the playoffs,
since you and I are, in the
same
generation, right?
Opposite ends.
Since you and I are same generation, it's well established, Johnny. Do you feel like now as you're getting older, you now respect rookie quarterbacks? Like the older and older you get, you respect rookie quarterbacks less and less because you're now a resident old person because we're again same age group.
Bo Nix is like 2 years younger than I am. he is not that young of a rookie quarterback.
He did play for a long time in college football.
He played 6 years of college
He's
football.
Not quite Cam Rising, but he played for a long time in college football. That's true. So would you add anybody to this? You said maybe the Packers?
Maybe the Packers. I mean, that they really – the hardest part about the Packers and the Vikings, but especially the Packers because they're a little bit worse, is that – the path is tough. Well, you laid out with the Texans and Chargers. The same thing applies. I mean, the same exact thing applies to to those 2 teams because if either of them win as wild cards, it's likely that they would play. That they would play the 1 seed Lions.
The
anyway.
4-5 winner most likely plays the 1.
And we just saw Vikings Lions Now, some of that might have been like the worst possible outcome for the Vikings. Like I wouldn't expect a carbon copy of that game, but we saw that even with the questions that we have for the Lions defense, they're able to shut down the Vikings the last week of the season. Now, if they were to play again, they're coming off a bye. Probably, if not healthier in terms of getting guys back, just healthier in terms of the guys they have on the field, feeling better. And the Packers, I think also they went 0-2 against the Lions this season. So
Yeah.
I get it. And I think they
I
might have
mean,
got swept by
that
the Vikings
Packers,
too.
you have to factor in the path to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to hear in a second, Johnny. But if the Packers were to make a Super Bowl,
They
they
have to
would
play
have
the
to go
2-1.
they'd have to go through having to go to Philly and to
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think in a vacuum, those two teams, like if it was like seeded whatever randomly or something, or seeded evenly,
Right.
or if you, I just didn't know who they're playing. I think I would add in the Vikings and the Packers into that list, but given their path, I think it's fair to have them out.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny? Would you add or subtract anyone from this list?
Yes, we got to go to break. So quickly, I'll throw this team out there. I feel like they've had some magic. The Commanders. I think.
I do think they win this week.
Yeah, I
That
think
was
there's a.
that was one of my BZ money picks on the show yesterday. The Buccaneers are 3-point favorites. I think the Commanders win that game outright.
Wow,
I mean
another rookie quarter.
I mean that's a 3-6 matchup. So
Brian
if they
likes them young.
I guess I respect the rookie quarterbacks more than you do, Sean. I'm completely gonna ignore that phrasing and just move us on to
Hey,
break.
D-Mac, heard you like him young.
God. Well, this show has gone off the rails. Where's Cam at? Can we find Cam to come here and say something pro
To be fair to
Charger?
Brian, they're both 25 years old. So
Are they really the same age?
they both played against Justin Herbert in.
Well, they're
college.
they both spent at least 4 years in college.
Yeah.
Maybe a fifth.
They both
I
played.
I think Bo had a fifth year, right?
They both played college football in 2019.
Oh my God, pre-COVID. Wow, those guys, man, aged geezers. Forget rookies. They're not rookies. They're aged
they
veterans.
stunk for the first half of their
Yeah.
college careers, both of them.
That's true. Yeah, they had to leave where Jaden had to leave Arizona State and Bo had to leave Auburn. But anyway, overdue for a break, as Johnny said right before when we went to him. First words out of his mouth, not his take, was, well, we're a little late to break here, guys. His priorities are certainly in order. But other side of the break, we're going to talk some Astros here in the bullpen. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is The Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
See, I feel like I want to believe that this is just the song randomly that Johnny decided to play. But coming off the last conversation where Sean dropped a "you like 'em young" thing on me for some reason, now we're coming back with "not like us"
He loves
with the A minor line.
He
What the hell?
loves some quarterbacks born in the 2000s.
I'm sorry, I respect rookie quarterbacks that think they can win over like some geezer like Matt Stafford, someone my age. I happen to believe of someone of Matt Stafford's age or close to it. I happen to know how my body feels, and I know Stafford being an NFL player can't feel a whole lot better. That's all I'm saying. Give me the young guys with the young legs. Don't isolate
clip that.
Don't
please.
Clip that,
Think
please.
I love in sports.
No, we don't need that. Like we had
Actually,
the
worst person in
Russia
sports.
thing a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where you isolated.
Yeah, that'll be my worst person in sports.
No, it was a pro
B-Mac.
China take. I think it was.
Yeah, B-Max Pro China. That's what it was.
That's a
No.
problem.
But if you're a person born in the 2000s, just know B-Mac supports you. He loves you and he supports you.
Look, I'm happily married, but that is a hard cutoff. like just mentally, like no.
Oh yeah, we did do the math.
We did do the math. Yeah, like the whole half your age plus 7 thing would be 27. But no. I think part of it is like we're going to talk Astros here, but now we're diving into the weeds.
I really want to know because the thing about it is, and then a long pause. I'm like, oh my god, he's really gonna.
Screw it, it's Saturday. I don't care. Let's let the bullets fly. I can't get these takes off during the Killer Bees. Are you kidding me? Where else am I going to get them
Not
off?
these. You can get a lot of takes.
I get a lot of takes off. I cannot get these. Jeremy and Joel would not allow that. No, but seriously, again, happily married. It's not going to happen. But I'll just put it up front. But like,
hang on. What did you say during a break? Not that long ago.
What happens if the break stays in the break?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Respect the silence of the break.
I also had that same.
No. What happens if the break stays in the break? That's no. Okay. Silence. But no, I've had the thought. I think like beyond just the like, okay, there would be a hard 2000 cutoff, like year 2000 born cutoff, like that. I couldn't get past that. The other part of it would be even with that, because that would make him 20. Oh god, that'd be 24. Oh god, it's even worse. No, but it would have to be like an age. Like if I were like, hey, this is my new girlfriend or whatever, and I introduced them to you guys, and you found out what age she is.
She has to be older than me.
Well, yes, but it had to be an age where you guys wouldn't go,
I wouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like
you think I'm way more judgmental than I am.
Well, I'm not saying you necessarily specifically,
okay.
but just like any group of friends or coworkers or acquaintances, whoever. Like if I introduce and like when I leave the room and they're like, really? Like that's kind of the whatever. And now maybe that's individual to each person I would come in contact with. Yeah. But I think like right now for me, I'm as a 41-year-old man, I think that age cutoff would be like 33. Like where anyone younger than that, people would be like, I don't know.
Okay.
We probably spent way too much time on this.
Thank you for explaining your thoughts.
And we can have the same conversation the other way with Sean. Like we know how young B-Mac will go. How old would
how old?
Go?
How old? Yeah, how old did you go, Sean?
I don't know.
Have you ever dated someone older?
No. Not like significantly.
Not significantly. Okay.
Yeah. They're both. They're both like a couple months older. Like 6 months older.
Okay.
I don't know.
I wasn't sure because Paul Galant's dating life comes up on the show all the time, but you've done a good job of keeping it professional and keeping your own relationships out of the conversation.
I would say like once you get past like 34, 35.
That would be your cutoff.
Yeah, I know Sean well from the years we've worked together here. I don't know him a ton outside of this building, but he does strike me. There is like a vibe from you that you would date somebody and then like mid to late 30s, like maybe even early 40s. You just give off that vibe.
What would you call that vibe?
I don't know.
What specifically goes?
Yeah, what's specifically about the way Sean
maybe it's like
looks and acts, says.
Maybe it's the tennis headbands. Maybe it's I don't know what it is. It's just,
are you saying that Sean wants a sugar mama? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure he'd take that.
I 100% do. Like, let's not get it twisted. Now, okay. Now, if we're throwing that in there, the age change.
Oh, okay, so now there's a higher range. Okay, let's say this. All right, let's screw it. Astros can wait. Let's say this woman has.
How old is Justin Verlander?
I know he's older than Kate. He's got like 10 years on her. Shout out to Justin Verlander. He did well. But okay, let's say this woman has $5 million. How old could she be? How old could she be, Sean? I feels like it's over 40.
I'm doing a lot of math here.
How old can you tolerate?
Depends.
Depends on okay.
Depends on the mileage.
Okay. All right. Well, now I'm going to really out personal conversations between us, but Selma Hayek is someone who's aged quite well, and we might have shared. Like, holy crap! Look at her at this age. If Selma Hayek,
B-Mac, I'll tell you right now, I will date Selma Hayek. I would date Selma Hayek.
She's like 50 something, 57,
yeah,
something like that.
Something.
She's also like
the
57? Prime example.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the best
aging
example.
Well, yeah, for sure. I would say definitely north of 55. I could be off on the 57, but I would say definitely north of 55.
The collection of people I've Googled in the last like 30 minutes is crazy.
Whenever someone has to search or look at Sean's search history, it's going to be a very confusing few minutes.
58. Wow.
58. Wow. Selma. Good for you. All right, so crap, it's 1:11. We're 1 minute from the break. All right, well, I guess let's carry the let's go ahead and break here. We'll come back. We'll do our Justin Verlander. We have to mourn and celebrate the time and life of Justin Verlander as a Houston Astro on the other side of the break, and then we'll get into some prize picks on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Bye, little Verlander. We'll miss you in the saddest fashion. All right, this is gonna be hard to get through, but we got to have the memorial service now for Justin Verlander's time as a Houston Astro, which has come to an
There are
end.
5,000 candles in the wind.
Yeah, I don't think we have room for five. I don't think
We can fit 5,000 candles in here easily.
I don't think
This is a big room.
I don't think our fire grade
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think there's a building in
code
the world
code.
that
I'm like
could-
fire code. Is that what I'm looking for? I don't know if we can legally put like 5,000 candles in the studio.
Obviously not.
I don't care. We're rebels. We can do it anyway. But Justin Verlander, his time as an Astro officially, we think, for now, come to an end. We think
Yeah, we've done
because we've done that.
before.
We've gone down this road before.
I
but
mean, we haven't done this before.
No, certainly not. We should have done it the last time, but bye, little Verlander. But he signs a 1-year, $15 million contract with the San Francisco Giants, which, look, I get the Astros not trying to match that. He's a guy that declined in the second half of the last season. He's my age, and I don't think anyone wants me pitching for the Houston Astros. So I get it, but it's time
Middle reliever, maybe.
which I'm not even going to ask what you said. But it's time to look back on our fondest moments of Justin Verlander's time with the Houston Astros. So go ahead and start, and we'll go around the room here and pay our tributes before we move on to our prize picks. But I think we got to start with his 2017 ALCS MVP, where there's no argument to me if Verlander isn't as good as he was in that series, and he was absolutely amazing as the ALCS MVP with 16 innings, 1 earned run during that series, 21 strikeouts across those 16 innings. If he doesn't pitch like that, you don't win your first World Series. So that's probably my favorite moment for Verlander, including shoving in Game 6 with the Astros down 3-2. He got him back to the 3-3 time. We obviously know what happened in Game 7 with Lance closing it out. John, what's your favorite Verlander?
I'll say I'll stay within the lines for one. The 2019 no-hitter against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I think that was one where, and he did this a couple times. Obviously, he played 2022, 2023, 2024 for the Astros. But that was one where you're like, oh my God, this guy still has it, like to like high levels. Still
right, he's
has
not
it.
just managing and getting by.
No,
and,
he can still throw a complete game no hitter.
Right, like his stuff's not there, but he locates and he's just smarter.
Yeah.
Like no, he's still got gas and nasty stuff.
And
John,
then,
go ahead. Sorry.
Where the F is Toro? That part is also funny.
John, what was your favorite Verlander moment?
Yeah, both of you bring up great Verlander. But I'm gonna go off the field. I think it was 2017 in that World Series run. There was a moment where the team was really down and like playing bad, and he was in the dugout like yelling. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
he was screaming at the team, getting the team kind of motivated and up and going. That and then also the Jose Altuve. I literally love Justin Verlander.
That was a good moment. Very good moment.
The one that I was gonna, I guess it technically is inside the lines if he was standing in the field. The STFU Cora.
Yes. Oh damn it! You stole my next one.
And then
stole my next one.
Where's when he yelled?
Yeah, where's Toro?
Where's Toro? There you go.
Yeah. He's you seem like he's trying to like have a conversation. It's not being received. He's like, bleep you, man. It was. That was amazing.
I think it was was it bleep you Cora? Or I thought it was STFU. Cora.
Yeah, maybe it might one of the two. But Verlander, I don't know if this was ever talked about as far as like what he had in his repertoire, but he had some red ass in him. Like not like Clemens, Nolan Ryan level or something like that, but he had some
good amount.
Yeah, he had a good amount. I'll throw in another one quickly. If you have something else, let's throw them in as well, and I'll check the listener line. But I'll mention the 2022 season where he obviously comes back and coming off of Tommy John, where he misses the entire 2021 season and all but one start of the 2020 season, comes back, gets you to a World Series, gets you to obviously wins his first ever World Series game, which has been something he hadn't been able to accomplish throughout his legendary career. And by the way, included in that, he's still got enough gas in the tank to win the Cy Young and post a sub-2 ERA.
Yeah, no, that. I mean, that year is probably like the that is what like 100% cements him as like not just he was a Hall of Famer before he ever played for the Astros,
Mhm.
but like a Astros legend too, because
Right.
he
Someone
had
that might have his number retired or something.
he had that second act as, like you mentioned, like an absolute horse.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, now you say horse. I'm thinking, God, I thought I was going to get through this with no tears, but you say horse, and now got to think about little Sebastian's gone.
Yeah.
Verlander's gone from our lives. Everyone around us is dying, Sean. You turn it up, Johnny. Oh, you're 5,000 candles in the wind. Oh, thank
All
you,
right.
Andy Dwyer.
We
All
needed
right.
that. We needed
Any other quick memories before we move on to our prize picks,
healthy
John,
part of the
Sean?
grieving part. No, I'm good.
All right, so with the morning of Justin Verlander's time in Houston over, we now move on to something a little more fun, a little more excited, something, might you say, a little more hyped. It's time for our prize picks. Ooh, it's time for the prize picks here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 as a part of the Hype Train. Sean, what is your first prize picks this week?
First one this week, I'll go with a Chargers Texans related one.
Are you going to be a trader?
No.
Okay, good.
Kaimi Fairbairn and Cameron Dicker more than
Dicker the kicker, yes.
more than 3.5 field goals made.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, I like
I think
that.
we get 2 from each.
This feels like a bend but don't break, settle for field goals type of game.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was talking about that in the the combined field goal yardage.
What is it? Do you have it in front of you?
I'd have to.
No, that's fine. We don't have to dig that deep into it. I actually will be a trader for my first pick. I am taking more than 5.5 catches for Ladd McConkey. He's had 5 or more in 5 straight games, so you're basically getting him at his floor. And his average over that time, because he's had three of those games where he's been well over the 5 catches. Like he's had a 9 catch game, 10 catch game. His average over the last 5 is 6.6. So give me more than 5.5 catches for Ladd McConkey.
I looked up I do like that. I'm in. I looked up the Dicker Fairbairn yardage.
Oh, the yardage, yeah.
It is. Would it surprise you if I said it's the highest among all
No,
the
it would
games?
not surprise me at all. This does feel like a field goal game, like a field goal. The kickers will have a big role in this.
128.5.
128.5.
If you pencil in like a 50.
If like in your scenario, we get 4 field goals because you had over 3.5.
It's easy.
It's easy because they only have to average like 30 something yards.
You can get there with 3, honestly.
Yeah,
you get a 50.
Yeah, especially
50 and 240s.
I mean, I don't know how far Dicker's kicking on the average, but certainly we know Fairbairn's was like an 8, 9, 50 plus yard field goals. I know he's got the NFL record, but man, yeah, I like the higher number for both of those. What is your next prize pick, sir?
Next one, I'm going to Tampa Bay and Washington. I'm going with, again, a combined Mayfield, Daniels, more than 488 passing yards.
Okay,
488 and a half.
About 240 apiece.
I think this is the game that most screams shootout to me. This is the one that screams neither of these teams can really stop each other.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's defense has certainly taken a step back this year. And Washington, the only place I worry, this kind of feeds into my next pick, but the only thing that would have me worry with Tampa being the home team and Washington having like the weakest run defense of the teams in the playoffs.
They just run it with Bucky.
Exactly. And that's why I like 2 different numbers for Bucky this week. Both with his rushing yards, which was 91.5, is what I got it at. And then 16.5 rushing attempts. So he's had 15 or more carries in 4 straight, including 19 and 20 in his last 2. So same thing with Ladd. You're kind of getting him at his floor. And then he's been over 100 yards in 2 of his last 4. The number again, 91.5. And one of the games where he wasn't over 100, he was at 89. So right at the number. You're kind of getting him. If this is, Tampa Bay favored, home team, second half, run the ball because you're up.
Yeah.
This feels like you're getting him at his floor, but for both his carries, again, 16.5, and then his yards, 91.5.
So carries and yards.
Yeah, I would take either. The one I actually bet was his carries. Okay. I just because when I actually bet this on another site, but when you bet it, you have to choose one or the other. Like
Yeah, you can't put the same
you
player
can't
in the
do
same
the same
yeah.
player for two different. So I went ahead and went rushing attempts, but I think yards is in play too.
Okay, yeah, I like that one. I like that one. It is kind of negatively correlated with mine a little bit, but not
I mean,
crazy.
if it's the shootout that you expect, it might not
Yeah,
be.
we could all
You
eat.
could get your yards and early in the game. Well, not early in the game, but through
Yeah,
the first three quarters, and then Bucky
and
gets his rushing attempts in the fourth
and
quarter.
with something like this, as long as they're both kind of keeping up, you're always like, okay, in the fourth quarter, one of these two are going to have to start throwing it a lot.
Right.
So you're
Sure.
going to get the yards later. Like you're always in to get the yards later.
Definitely.
I'll do another one. Lamar Jackson, quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Brian,
I've heard of him. You think I forgot who he was?
I just
Thank you for
I,
telling me. Baltimore Ravens.
they are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What? They're playing the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've had a lot of good defenses in their years.
Sure.
Terry Bradshaw. I'll tell you about
Terry Bradshaw. Yeah. He ever do anything? He won a Super Bowl. What about Franco Harris? He ever like a crazy reception at one point?
Someone called immaculate. Give me Lamar Jackson. Give me longest rush over 15 and a half.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Maybe this is a little bit of seeing him against the Texans and seeing him against
that's unfair.
Seeing him
I'm
against
not
the
gonna put that on
Browns.
the Steelers.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe I'm more into it. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely gonna have a 20-something yard run. But I still even still think that this could be a game. I kind of envision it where it is Baltimore is kind of outplaying the Steelers, but they can't quite break away. So they're gonna need Lamar to at some point make a big play with his legs.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'll transition to mine because these two, I'll combine them because they're targets for Lamar Jackson. But I think with Zay Flowers out for this game is a positive thing if you want to make plays on either Rashad Bateman or Mark Andrews. So I put both of these in my my lineup. For Rashad Bateman, 3.5 receptions is his line. Without Zay Flowers, I think Rashad Bateman is going to be heavily involved. Last week when the Ravens played, obviously Zay Flowers out there as well, or he got hurt early in the game. I forget.
He got hurt probably second quarter.
Okay. Well, anyway, Rashad Bateman ended up with 5 catches in that game. I think Bateman's going to be involved enough for 3.5 catches without Zay Flowers. And the other part of that, I mentioned Mark Andrews. I went with his anytime touchdown. Like I don't like the overall like target volume for him. 6 straight games with a touchdown for Mark Andrews. He's their red zone guy, really, with or without Zay Flowers. I would take this even if Zay Flowers is in. Certainly helps if Zay Flowers is out because that makes probably without a doubt Andrews the number one read when they get down to the red zone if they're going to pass and not hand it off to Derrick Henry. But give me more on Bateman's catches 3.5 and an Andrews anytime touchdown.
I like those. I like both those. Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, I've got one more.
Okay. This is one that you asked me if I was considering it earlier in the show, and I had to keep a poker face. Like, yes, I have considered it actually, Brian. Justin Herbert rushing yards.
Okay.
More than 19 and a half.
Yeah.
I feel like you get a couple scrambles. You get a few scrambles probably.
I don't know what
get up there.
I don't know what his average is. I think on the season he had like 350 yards. So he's not a prolific runner.
No, he's not.
He's not Lamar. There's not a lot of design runs, as I think we talked about in that segment earlier in the show. But certainly you can see a situation where if the Texans are in man, they drop back, they don't have eyes on Herbert, then Herbert takes off. And hell, he could get this a one run for you. So I like that.
And again, you think bringing a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
the Texans are going to pressure him. It's going to lead to more scramble.
Yeah, no, I like that quite a bit. My last one is with the Rams Vikings games. One, Puka Nacua cannot be stopped. I mean, I think that's just the first part of this.
He also has a really good quarterback thrown.
Who's not as good as Bo Nix. That's been well established.
Didn't
by
take
the
Troy
way.
Franklin's.
Clearly, I know what well established.
Didn't take Mims's.
But Puka Nacua can't be stopped, and the weakest part of the Vikings defense has been their secondary, their pass defense. We've seen that throughout the year. teams can't run on the Vikings, but they can pass on them. Now, part of that is because they can't run, so they just decide to pass, and part of it is they're not great against
And
the pass.
the Vikings won 13 games, and so
People are behind. Yeah. So, and all that could play into factor here. So Puka Nakua's line, I would actually be fine with either his line for receptions or yards. His line for receptions is 7.5, which these numbers are high, but 7.5 for his receptions. He's been over that in 4 of his last 5 games. And the one where he didn't get that, he was at 7. So he was just half a reception under. Like this, again, you're getting him at his floor. And then his yards is 87.5, which he's been over that in 3 of his last 4 games. So again, both with catches 7.5, receptions or receptions 7.5, in yards 87.5. I think you're getting Puka Nacua at his floor. So give me the one I played was receptions, but I think both are alive.
Yeah. I think actually,
you prefer yards?
Well, it's
I guess less variables. You could have the one big play, and then you don't need anything else.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, because
That's fair.
It has
that's
to be
fair.
more like consistent throughout the game, where like this can be 2 big plays and you're there. But I do like both of them. I think I just like yards a little more.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that will do it for this segment here for the hype train. And now coming up next is the Mount Rushmore +1 segment you've been waiting for when ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5 returns. Don't go anywhere. Welcome in, Houston, to the best part of your weekend. It is time for the award-winning, groundbreaking, sports radio landscape-changing Mount Rushmore +1 segment that'll someday get the 3 of us, in Cam too, if he's not lazy, into the Sports Radio Hall of Fame. And yes, that is a reference to our man, Not Santa, on Twitter, who asked if Clutch City Cam Cam Smith is being lazy today? The answer is yes. He's
I don't think
obviously
he's being lazy. I think he's just
You
he
think
was
he's being
scared
drunk?
being ganged up on 3-on-1
Oh,
by 3 Texans fans and a
okay. Yeah.
Chargers
You think
fans.
you
So.
think Cam is running scared?
Yeah, scared of the grind.
Scared of the grind? He didn't rise and grind this
Yeah,
morning.
he's running from
Monday
it.
hashtag Monday
All right.
motivation.
Keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind.
He's not about it. All right, let's get into our Mount Rushmore plus one. I feel like I should go first this week since I got banned last week, and I had to, Johnny. I took one too many shots at
Yeah.
Johnny's misfortune with his cell phone and all his accounts being hacked, and Johnny, he decided. Look, I respect the decision. I'm not someone who I'm not Ben DeBose. I don't blame the referees. So I got slapped in the wrist. I'll take it.
Okay.
Again, hand up, tap
Okay.
the chest. That was on me. So
He learned his lesson.
I learned my lesson.
Welcome back, B-Mac.
By the way, how is everything going with that? You
Still going.
Still going? Man.
It's still different things every day. Yeah.
Oh, my heart goes out to you, Johnny. I will not make the same mistakes.
My heart will go on.
Yeah,
Near,
exactly.
far, wherever you are.
What Sean said, ditto. Yes. But anyway, so I'll go first since I didn't get to give a list last week. But I'm actually going to give a list different than what I would have given last week because I feel like that list has to be dead now since I got banned.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it back in the future.
List that deserves to be buried.
It feels cursed. Like I feel like I have to bury it, burn some sage.
It's got bad vibes now. You can't do that today.
There's some bad juju there. So this list is themed for the current weather pattern of it being too cold. I'll just go on record, too cold. These are things that are either better cold or better than you think cold, and or at least like something that you wouldn't. That's not traditionally
counterintuitively.
Cold. Yeah, exactly. That's not traditionally served cold, but you like it cold.
Okay.
All right.
I like this.
There we go. All right. First one, I think we can all agree. This is, I think, a fairly popular one. Pizza.
Cold pizza?
I'm not saying it's not my first choice. I'd rather have it hot out of the oven. But I don't mind, especially like a pepperoni pizza. I don't know why that's better than the other ones. But pepperoni pizza cold, I like it. I like it a lot.
I agree.
It's better than I'd rather have it cold than if I only had time to microwave it because that doesn't come out right. I'd rather just eat it cold.
Yeah, because when you're microwaving a cold pizza, a lot of times you have to overshoot it just so it gets warm. Because there's always that spot in the middle where it's still frozen,
right?
Or it's not frozen, but it's still like actually cold.
Yeah,
and so you do have to
the crust doesn't come out right.
The crust gets messed up, so you have to overshoot it and then wait for it to cool off, or just burn your mouth like
like a man.
but the frozen.
I'm so unnecessarily masculine.
Continue. I didn't say like a man. I said like I.
No, I know. I'm saying what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're from a different generation.
No, same generation. It's well established.
I think frozen takes that out, and it's still, again, yeah. I think it's the pepperoni. It like retains its flavor.
Something about pepperoni makes it even.
Probably
do you agree with this, Johnny? Do you like this?
Yes, but only for breakfast. Like you got to take it fresh, ice cold, out of the fridge.
That is a key factor. Good job by you.
All right, next one. I think this one will be more controversial,
okay.
but my reasoning is the same because I don't think it reheats well. It's fried chicken. Like I don't think the breading.
This is controversial.
Okay, I like the breading doesn't hold up in the microwave. Like if you want to take the time to do the whole oven thing, okay, that's probably better. Or if you have an air fryer, that's obviously better.
Yes.
But compared to cold or microwave, I'll take the cold fried chicken. I like it. I'm guessing by the looks that you guys are giving me, you've never even tried this.
No.
I mean, I have.
Oh, you have?
I've definitely had it. It's definitely been like a thing at my house, but it's not something that I want to do or will do. Like fried chicken has to be crunchy and juicy. You're not gonna get either one of those when it's cold.
But when it's microwaved, like the breading tends to fall off.
That's why you don't.
Once it's juicy,
if it's not fresh, hot, you don't eat it. You just throw it away.
Okay, so you're
dog food.
Okay.
Food waste over here.
Now I'm with you, like on French fries. Like French fries, you can never reheat
French
them.
fries,
They're in the trash. You can't but fried chicken, I think is fine.
I don't think it is.
Okay, all right. You guys aren't with me with that one. Next one on the list, also food. Mac and cheese.
Really?
Yeah, try it. It's
I've had it. I don't
okay. So
really.
you've had it cold.
It doesn't really jump out to me as
I
that.
like it cold.
I
Like,
don't
look,
know.
I would,
Something about the consistency gets messed up when
but there's something
it's in the
about,
fridge.
and maybe it depends the way the mac and cheese is made. But there's something about the gloopiness when it gets cold. It all kind of like clumps together. Like it
Yeah,
kind of condenses the cheesiness in a way.
I like the thick mac and cheese, but I like it when it's hot. When it's cold, it just
You like it
gets.
thick and hot.
Who doesn't? Uh, but when it gets cold, it just the consistency, like it's a very delicate balance, and it's
Okay.
just right on the wrong side of it. But
Look, I would still prefer it. Obviously,
yeah, the taste doesn't change really.
no, and I don't think it's, and it, mac and cheese actually isn't bad in the microwave, but I do like it cold.
Yeah.
I do like it cold. Johnny, you in on this?
It's not as bad as the fried chicken.
All right.
But I mean,
fried chicken's still.
I'm still out on cold mac and cheese overall.
Okay, all
Is
right.
it like
So
is it like a Chick-fil-A sandwich with the fried chicken, or
no, I'm talking more
like a drumstick?
yeah, like not KFC specifically, because
Like a family bucket, and you
Yeah,
got a couple
like a
pieces left
drumstick,
over
yeah.
in the fridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I can't do a cold drumstick.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying,
do it.
try it once.
I
and
won't.
Tell.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, this one's a tie. They're both kind of candy cookie-ish
Tie?
here.
What the hell?
I mean, okay,
Mount
I'll
Rushmore plus 2?
yeah. We make our own rules.
Okay,
you
know
make
what?
the rules, we break them, Sean. Shout out to Generation X.
I mean, you didn't get to do one last week.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So I still
I'll let
actually owe you 4 more after this.
I'll let you cook, but don't
All
use
right.
any heat. Don't use any heat while you're cooking.
I won't, because these things are good cold. This is a tie again. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yep.
And Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies.
Yep.
Both are like, I prefer, like, this.
I was gonna say these get better cold.
Yes, exactly. Like the other one, like everything else before this, it's not that it gets better cold. I'm fine with it cold. This one,
yeah.
I intentionally putting it in the refrigerator.
Yeah. No. I 100% agree. One of the best parts about our new, or it's not even new anymore, but the vending machine that we have
it's
now
refrigerated, yeah.
is that it's refrigerated for the drinks that are in there. But there's also, I don't think it's in there right now, but they
I'm gonna
cycle
check.
through the candy.
I'm gonna check.
And there will be a Reese's cups in there. And since it's refrigerated next to the soda, it stays cold. So you get like a cold. It's not like quite like you left it in the fridge, but it's still on the cool side. And
Yeah.
I way prefer
It's
that.
so better. Johnny, you with this one?
100% on board with both of them.
Okay,
Yep.
very good, very
Especially
good.
the Girl Scout cookies. But those really
those
get
Thin
better
Mints are
cold.
so
Yeah.
good.
They do.
That's so good. Hey, that's coming up pretty soon, about a month from now.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Reason for the season, Thin Mints. Quickly, favorite Girl Scout cookie? Is it Thin Mints?
No, the peanut butter ones.
Yeah, those peanut butter ones are pretty good. Yeah, Johnny,
The peanut butter.
peanut butter.
Yep.
Yeah, those are better for refrigerated too. All right, last thing on my Mount Rushmore plus one of things that are better or best cold. Revenge. Revenge is a dish best served
Okay.
cold.
Okay.
Revenge.
When you thought of things that are good colds, just be honest. First was pizza. Second was revenge.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
You see right
And
through
then-
me.
And
And then I had to fill out the rest of the
yes,
list.
and that's how we got fried chicken and mac and cheese. Got it. That's almost a meal. Fried chicken and mac and cheese is like a meal.
Johnny, he saw right through me. That's 100% what happened. I was cold. I was like, I like pizza cold. Revenge. Now I need 3
Only
more.
3 more. Okay, I got 3 new ones.
Although, come on, you agree with me on Reese's and Girl Scout Thin Mints. So
Yeah. You had 3 that
I think you mostly push back on the fried chicken.
Yeah, I have 3 that I unambiguously agree with pizza, the candy,
And
and
revenge.
one that I'm like not for me, but I see it with mac and cheese, and one I don't see it with fried chicken.
All right, Johnny, what is your Mount Rushmore plus one, sir?
Yes. So I didn't realize I was going to make one this week. So this is kind of a throw together. Sean earlier in the show said something about being extremely hungry, and it made me think of
I am extremely hungry.
my top 5
You're
game
like,
day
you know
foods.
what? I'm also hungry.
Yes, I am also hungry. But today is game day. So it made me
Yes.
think about the foods here in a way that maybe we can make Sean more hungry. So this is
These are both food related.
they
Food
are.
and revenge related.
I hope yours is also to keep the trend here.
It's not.
But I did my Mount Rushmore plus one of my playoff game day foods. Number 5, I know people around here love their HEB. I'm going with the HEB brisket queso dip at number 5.
Right when you said HEB, I was like, he better
Elite.
mention
That's
brisket
it.
queso.
Elite.
Got it.
Yes.
It is elite, and you got to do the right type of chips. I'll say my favorite is the cheddar and sour cream flaming hot combination that Lay's makes. That's
I don't like the
amazing.
Yeah, I don't really like the flavored chips if I'm dipping queso. I just want tortilla
Like a
chips.
tortilla chip?
Yeah.
I'll do a Dorito.
No, I'm out on that.
Oh yeah.
What else you got, Johnny?
Number 4. Sorry, I'm going with sliders.
Yeah,
because they're
Make
pretty
your sliders
unique.
later today.
Yeah, you can do a burger, you can do chicken, you can do whatever you want. Number 3, I went with one of my personal favorites, a chili cheese dog, but it has to be all beef, a hot dog. Chili and cheese.
You don't get down with swine.
A little bit
Kosher.
of mustard. Not really. No. There's a long story behind that. I won't get
we
into
don't got
today.
time.
Number 2, this is going to be controversial because I know the argument and I don't care. Boneless wings
They're
at
chicken
number
nuggets.
2. Boneless chicken wings.
They're chicken nuggets.
Okay.
Long as they're hot.
What do you want to say? Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
They're hot. Long as you're eating
Oh,
them
see,
up.
that's you throwing shade. Look, I would eat if I was coming over, I would definitely eat the quote unquote boneless wings. But let's be real, they're chicken nuggets. They're not wings.
Also, now that I thought it, I always would heat up boneless wings that I would get in college because we would get a lot of them and then just have them for lunch the next day. Yeah, I never ate them cold. I never even thought about eating them cold.
Try it. Is all I'm saying. Johnny, what's your number 1?
Number 1, I went with a print. Like, you can't just do the cheap stuff. You have to do like a premium nachos from somewhere that does it right with like everything. Yeah.
Now that could go along with your brisket queso. You could turn that into
Brisket nachos.
Yeah, you could turn that into nachos. Yeah. So there's some feng shui there amongst your list there. Main event Mapes. Main event this bad boy.
There's a sporting event that we haven't talked about that happened yesterday. Happened last night, to be specific.
I don't recall. No, nothing comes to mind.
The Texas football Longhorns lost a game to the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I don't recall that happening.
Late in the game, Texas was driving, and they're on the 1-yard line. Second down and goal from the 1-2 yard line. They called a
toss out of the pistol.
A toss play. My Mount Rushmore is +1 is of plays I would have called instead of a sweep on the 2-yard line against Ohio State in the college football semifinals.
Anything.
By far the longest title that I've ever had for a Mount Rushmore +1. First down, they ran a halfback dive
with a bunch of defensive linemen in. Yeah,
I would have ran another one.
Yeah,
instead,
100%.
I would have called a fullback dive.
Yeah, I would rather have that.
I would run another RPO because Ohio State defensive backs couldn't stop grabbing Texas receivers. I would have called a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, that one popped in my mind. Right, you're on the 1-yard line, sneak it.
Instead
of the big boys from the defensive lineman leading, was it Jared?
It was Gibson.
Gibson, yeah, Jared Gibson.
Yeah.
I thought so. Which, by the way, that was kind of giveaway when you put in Gibson.
Yep.
But so that's a whole nother thing. But instead of them being in front, leading Gibson in, just put him behind you or help him push him into the end zone.
Yep. And last one, Arch Manning.
Yeah, it worked. Now he didn't technically. Well, actually, he did. Yeah, he did carry. It was the snap because
snap through the legs.
Yeah, snap through the legs of the tight end, Gunnar Helm. That'll do it for our Texas Longhorns Ohio State conversation here on the Bullpen. ESPN Radio.
That was the saddest Mount Rushmore +1 ever.
We were talking about cold fried chicken. Johnny's hyping us up with brisket queso, and then Sean brings us down.
I did this list.
Maybe should have main evented today.
Is by far the longest title I've ever had for one. Probably by far the shortest time I've ever spent making one. It took.
Did you make it right after it happened? As Sawyer was running to the end zone?
It was after the game. But
okay.
It was very fast. Not everyone's as good at play callers. Man.
Sark. Was he kneeling down as he called that play?
He was kneeling down on the fumble return for a touchdown.
Of course he was. That's always a bad sign. All right. How do we move on? How do we get our life together? We get our
In
life
general.
together because the Texans are going to beat the Chargers this in a couple hours here. But we also get it together by talking about our worst people in sports and what we love from sports this week. That when the bullpen returns, ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is The Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the show today for this edition of the Bullpen. Again, Brian McDonald, Sean Mapes, and John Belmer with you here. We close it out with the worst people in sports this week and what we love from sports this week. Sean, who was your worst person in sports this week?
My worst person in sports this week is Major League Baseball.
Oh,
The person known as
Mr. Major League Baseball?
Yes. For banning the two Yankee fans that grabbed Mookie Betts' wrist during the World Series from all MLB stadiums indefinitely.
What? They got a lifetime ban?
Lifetime ban from MLB. Come on.
Man, I expected
Free 'em.
maybe
For
like
these two random guys.
like a 1-year thing, maybe, but a lifetime
Or just
ban
like a
from
Yankee.
yeah, specifically Yankee Stadium.
Sorry, I'm not that mad at it. You can't do that.
You just hate
I mean,
fun.
he did. They did. They did do that.
They did do that.
You can do that.
They did. I encourage everyone else to now make sure to seek out Mookie Betts and try to
Combat.
steal his glove.
You're part of the game. Everyone always
You're
thinks
part of the
fans.
problem, John.
Everyone always thinks the fans, says how important they are until they actually do something.
Yeah.
and they're not
Have
that
you ever heard of
important.
the 12th man, John?
Okay.
12th man was trying to win that game.
That's football.
Trying to win that game, John.
A 10th man.
Speaking of football, my worst person in sports this week is Mr. Toss play out of a pistol on 2nd and 2.
That's ugly.
2nd and 1. That's my worst person in sports this week. All right. Enough of that, though. Let's stop swimming around with the anger sharps. Let's go ahead and doggy paddle over to the Sea of Tranquility and talk about the things we love from sports this week. Sean, what did you love from sports this week?
I love academic opportunities, Brian.
Are we talking Carson Beck? What are we talking here?
We're talking. No, well, I could talk about Carson Beck. I'm talking about a different person that transferred in the transfer portal recently. He's transferred a lot. He went from Nicholls State to Louisiana State University to UTSA to Louisiana Tech, and now he's going to Incarnate Word.
How long of a time period are we talking about?
I have no idea. This is just the graphic that I see in front of
Okay.
me. His name, well, it's not his name. He's a position player, defensive back, named Pig Cage. And I am now showing BMAC the graphic.
That is indeed a defensive back named Pig Cage.
Pig
That sounds like
Cage.
That sounds like a torture that Johnny would have endorsed last week when he's talking about the people that stole his identity.
Yeah. So Pig Cage.
Pig Cage.
My thing I love, person I love.
How does Sark miss out on that one?
I don't know.
We should have Pig Cage needs to be on the 40 acres, damn it.
I don't know. I don't like that one's not as good as some of the other ones. I'd be changing my name if my name was Pig Cage.
Cage. I don't know, man.
I do think defensive back is a surprising one. And this will be short, I guarantee you. I would like it more if it was like an offensive guard or something. A guard.
I don't know.
Or,
Like if you're
or
a defensive
tackle,
back,
Pig Cage,
you're trying to
pulling around the corner.
Hold on. What is a defensive back trying to do? Trying to lock people down. You put them in the cage.
That's a good point. You know,
now
that's a
Pig
good point.
Cage makes it a little weird. But
when I think
but you
of pig,
you do want to put them in a cage.
I think it's just pig. I expect a bigger person.
That's fine. Yeah, the pig part, offensive lineman, cage, defensive back.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Maybe needs to be a two-way player. All right. The thing I love from sports this week, not technically sports, but I don't care because I need to pick me up after last night's game. Here is a part of it is the whole thing's like 3 minutes long, but a part of the new trailer for A Working Man, a Jason Statham movie.
There's a man with a gun over there.
Where's the girl? You a cop? You wish I was a cop.
Hell yeah! I'm in. Buy my tickets
Look at
off
those
that
bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man. That's right. Let's play.
Go in.
Gunny?
Take my money.
Your blind ward buddy that doesn't know he's blind? That's the one. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I will be your weapon sommelier for this evening. This is the real beast here. M14, pulled direct from Saddam's palace. And I added a Bluetooth scope.
It's like every other line. This is like the best line of a trailer.
Yes.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Yeah! Yeah! Get him! Go! Hey.
This much.
Go ahead, cut it off. Cut it off. I'm looking directly at my camera here. Texans, today, you killed your way into this. You got to kill your way out. Quickly, we got 30 seconds left. Johnny, your prediction today, Chargers, Texans.
Texans 24, Chargers 21.
Sean.
Chargers 23, Texans 20.
Loser. I hate it. Texans 21, Chargers 17. Let's go! Play us out, Johnny.